of the following organizations bring about the publication known as Global Environmental Outlook? Okay, so this global, as the name implies, Global Environmental Outlook, it is about how the, we'll see this thing. Actually, this Global Environment Outlook is released by the United Nations Environmental Program, United Nations UNEP. So UNEP is one of the uh, core environmental international organizations which promote the environment, which promote, which conserve, which what you call restore, which protect the environment. So it will release the Global Environment Outlook. Recently, the sixth edition of Global Environment Outlook has been released. So it provides a this outlook provides a clear assessment of the current state of the environment. So outlook, what is the environmental outlook? So that is how the environment is going to be in near future, how would be the impact of climate, various climate change, so other pollution aspects, so what how the oceanic environment, marine environment also will get affected. All these things will be covered in this Global Environment Outlook report. So in current stage of the environment, the challenges that we face, how well we have dealt with them, with a due consideration given to gender, indigenous knowledge, and cultural dimensions. So it is a multi-dimensional environmental assessment report. Okay, and the future also can be predicted. I mean, the can be assessed by this through this report. It is released by United Nations Environmental Program. Okay, now we'll see the other options. Okay, so answer is B. Now we'll see the other option. IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature. Okay, this actually releases red data book. Red data book annually. It predicts about various vulnerability of various animals like endangered, critically endangered, threatened, threatened species, all those things. So those are mentioned in the red data book, which is mainly about the biodiversity. Next, Worldwide Fund for Nature. Worldwide Fund for Nature actually they release various reports like Living Planet report, Earth Hour. The Earth Hour is celebrated by this Worldwide Fund Nature, and other things, Depth for Nature Swaps. What is this Depth for Nature Swaps? Depth for Nature Swaps is nothing but if any developing country is actually indebted to any international organization, developing country is indebted to any international organization, if the developing country take up some clean environmental programs or any clean energy initiatives, then that international debt to be waived, can be waived to some extent. So that is debt for nature. So debt can be waived because of the conservation of nature. That is applicable to a developing country. So that is also implemented by Worldwide for Nature. Next is Marine Stewardship Council. So independent non-profit organization which sets a standard for sustainable fishing. This is also maintained by Worldwide Fund for Nature. So questions can be asked like this also. Which of the following are taken care of by Worldwide Fund for Nature? So something like that. So questions can also be like this. Next is one thing I forgot is United Nations Environment Program also with in collaboration with Interpol will also publishes this Rise of Environmental Crime. So this report, the report by name called Rise of Environmental Crime is also published by this United Nations Environmental Program only. Next we'll see this third thing, I mean the last option, intergovernmental plan. So this actually they reports IPCC will release reports, okay, annual fifth report, sixth report, something like that. They will predict the worst effects of climate change, mainly climate change actually. So how the temperature is going to increase, how the coastal areas will be get affected, so how the hinterlands gets affected, so various how the impact on developing and developed countries and all those things. So I have discussed in detail about various options and the possibility the possibility of the questions that can arise, that can come up in the next exams. Next question. Next question. It is about the Global Assessment Report on Disaster Risk Reduction. So, Global Assessment Report on Disaster Risk Reduction. So, this is published, this GAR. Okay, this Global Assessment Report on DRR, Disaster Risk Reduction, is published biannually. That is a tricky part actually. So the first statement it is given, it is an annual report. No, it is not annual report, but it is published by the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, UNDRR. That part is true, but this part is not true. So that's why the entire statement is wrong. Can be considered as wrong statement. Next, it is the product of the contributions of both the public and private entities working on disaster risk related science and research and member countries. This is true. Okay. It is, as can be seen in the explanation part, it is the product of the contributions of nations, public and private disaster risk related science and research among others. So option 2 is, sorry, statement 2 is right, statement 1 is wrong. Hence option B, that is only statement 2 is right answer. Next, look into the 75th question. It is about the emission gap report. So the report and report published by whom? So it is emission gap report. It is published by the United Nations Environment Program. So it is a flagship report of the UNEP, and it assesses the gap between the anticipated emissions in the 2030 and the levels consistent with the 1.5 degrees and 2 degree targets of the Paris Agreement. So that is actually, in order to contain that climate change to 1.5 degrees to 2 degrees as per Paris Climate Agreement, our emissions should be like some X. But actually, we by 2030 itself we are releasing some 0.5x or something like that. That is 0.15 or something like that. So that means there is a gap. Okay, we have to decrease the CO2 level emissions. Okay, this gap is actually assessed by this United Nations Environment Program. Even also, this report features ways to bridge the gap. This year, the report looked at potential of the energy transition, particularly this 2019, particularly in the power, transport, and building sectors, and the efficiency in the use of materials such as iron and steel and cement. So mainly, it emphasized on energy transition this year. So this emissions gap report is published by the United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP. Therefore, answer is option B. Okay. Next, see the 77th question. It is about climate change performance index. So what is this climate change performance index? It is released by, actually, as given in the question, it is German Watch, German based environmental NGO. So the how effective the governments are taking this climate change. So how better they are performing regarding climate change containment. So this, even this INDCs are their contributions. So how far they are achieving. That is the that can be known by this CCPI. The CCPI is an independent monitoring tool of countries' protection performance. Climate protection performance. It aims to enhance transparency in international climate politics and enables the comparability of climate protection efforts and progress made by individual countries. So how I mean comparison will be there. So how far they have achieved this thing, that also can be known by this uh, climate change performance index. So categories, what are these categories? So the ranking results are defined by a country's aggregated performance in 14 indicators within 4 categories. 4 categories of greenhouse gas. I mean, those 4 categories are actually 4 categories are there, 14 indicators are there. So these 4 categories include greenhouse gas emissions, renewable energy, energy use, as well as climate policy. Okay, in a globally unique policy section of the index. India for the first time. So let us stop here. So as per the given question, so for which of the categories are included under climate change performance index? So this climate change performance index is calculated based on 4 categories, that is greenhouse gas emissions, renewable energy, energy use, as well as climate policy. Hence all the statements are correct. So some extra information, India for the first time ranks 9th among the top 10 in 2019 years, 2019 years climate change performance index, CCPI, presented at the COP25 climate summit in Madrid. So India is in top 10 countries. India is among top 10 countries regarding climate change performance index. Okay. Next, which of the following issues the World Investment Report? So
World Investment Report. Who issues World Investment Report? Actually, as I told earlier explanation part, these reports and indices are very important in the civil services prelims examination. Every year, some 2 to 3 questions are repeatedly asked regarding who publishes what. Okay, so here the question is about World Investment Report. It is published by United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. Okay, so it is established in the year 1964 as a permanent intergovernmental body. It gives the World Investment Report. So what exactly World Investment Report contains? So it focuses on trends in foreign direct investments. So investments. So how the investments are throughout the world, throughout the world, at the regional and country levels, and measures to improve the country emerging measures to improve its, that is FDI's contribution to development. World. Okay, so next, see, this is all about this World Investment Report. In the next part, actually, what I have taken is, so this World Development Report, Global Economic Prospects Report, Remittance Report, Ease of Living Index, in India, India Development Update, Universal Health Coverage, etc. So the service trade. So these are actually published by this World Bank. So my intention of these things are. So here I want to tell you that the World Bank will publish some reports like this World Development Report, Global Economic Prospects, Remittance Report, Ease of Living Index, next Universal Health Coverage Index, the Service Trade Restriction Index. All these are published by World Bank. So the World Investment Report is not published by the World Bank. Okay, only the UNCTAD will publish this. So answer is, now we will move to the 40th question. So the question is asking about has given about three reports and asked which of the which will publish all these things. Sorry, which of the above reports are published by International Monetary Fund? So actually, if you see the explanation part, the Global Financial Stability Report and World Economic Outlook are given by International Monetary Fund. Okay, so Global Financial Stability Report and World Economic Output. This question actually, what are all the reports that are published by IMF? What are all the reports that are published by World Economic Forum, that we have discussed in the previous tests? Okay, so this is quite repetition. I mean, this is very, as these questions are very important. So in one way or the other, the questions will be repeated in almost all test series, all the tests actually. Okay, and I mean, even the previous civil service examination also, these report based questions are very common. So that is why I ask you to focus on these areas. Okay, this global competitiveness report, actually it is published by World Economic Forum, not the IMF. So the global competitiveness report is very yearly report published by World Economic Forum. Since 2004, the global competitiveness report ranked countries based on global competitiveness index. So here only 1 and 2 are correct. Okay, that is Global Financial Stability Report and World Economic Outlook are published by IMF, not the Global Competitiveness Report. Now look at the 94th question. It is about the reports published by the World Bank. So World Bank, so as we have seen, I mean these reports published by World Bank, World Economic Forum, International Monetary Fund, especially these economic entities are very important. So World Bank published World Development Report and what you call Global Economic Prospects. This World Economic Outlook is published by IMF. Okay, so here answer is only 1 and 2. That is option A is the right answer. Okay, so there is, I am not explaining much in this question. So this is direct question, and earlier we have seen this discussion. Earlier we have seen such type of questions and we have discussed there. Okay, now I will skip to the next question. To the 43rd question. The question is about World Energy Outlook. So as I said, this indices reports all are very important in for prelims examination. The World Energy Outlook is released by International Energy Agency. So as the name implies, energy outlook, it is actually related to energy, right? So the World Energy Outlook is the annual publication of International Energy Agency. The International Agency is actually history. It is about, it was created in 1974 to help coordinate a collective response to major disruptions in the supply of oil. Okay, so it gives World Energy Outlook report. It's Paris-based autonomous intergovernmental organization. So it is an intergovernmental organization. So World Energy Outlook series is a leading source of strategic insight on the future of energy and energy-related emissions. So how the energy, production of energy, how much energy is the requirement, how much energy will be generated. So what is the gap? So all these things about the emissions also, providing detailed scenarios that map out the consequences of different energy policy and investment choices. All these are being mentioned by this World Energy Outlook, which is published by International Energy Agency. Hence, option D is the right answer. So, next question is about various reports published by the World Economic Forum. So Time to Care report is actually published by the Oxfam International. Time to Care report is about is published by Oxfam International. Next is Global Wealth report is published by Credit Suisse Research Institute. So Global Wealth report and Time to Care report is not published by this World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum publishes Global Risk report. Let us see the reports of WF. The WF Forum publishes a comprehensive series of reports which examine in detail the broad range of global issues. It seeks to address with stakeholders as a part of its mission of improving the state of the world. So it has got very broad objective, improving the state of the world. Besides reports on its key events and standalone publications such as Global Competitiveness Report, Global Risk Report, Global Gender Gap Report, etc., the forum produces landmark titles covering the environment, education, in individual industries and technologies. So it has got some broad vision, some larger objectives, that is improving the state of the world. So here only second thing is correct. Option B is the right answer. Next question is about World Drug Report. So as the name implies, it is about drugs. So recently, why it is in news? First, we'll see. It recently, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes has released this World Drug Report. In this, it highlighted that because of the ongoing pandemic COVID-19, so there are chances of people resorting to illicit production, trade of drugs. So this drug menace will become more rampant because of COVID-19, because of the economic crisis it created. Okay, so on this backdrop the question was framed. So the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes is a United Nations office that was established in the year 1997 as the Office for Drugs Control and Crime Prevention by combating United Nations International Drug Control Program, by combining with, and crime prevention and criminal justice division in the United Nations office at Vienna. So it is related to United Nations only, not with the other things. Okay, hence answer is option A. So now is the 35th question. The question is asking about who publishes the Global Innovation Index, okay, for the year 2019, GII. So actually it is published by all the things. It is combined published by Cornell University, INSEAD and World Intellectual Property Organization. So what is this Global Innovation Index? So this Global Innovation Index, it aims to capture the multidimensional facets of innovation and provide the tools that can assist in tailoring policies to promote long-term output growth, improved productivity and job growth. So mainly it focuses on publishing the innovative ways through which economic development, that is overall long-term output growth, productivity and job growth will be improved. So it is combinedly produced by the Cornell University, INSEAD and World Intellectual Property Organization. So hence option D is the right answer. Now we'll go to the 36th question. Next question. As per the Human Development Index given by UNDP, which of the SAARC, arranging the SAARC countries in the order of higher to lower. higher to lower development. Higher to lower means higher development means higher human development index. Okay. So here, if you see the explanation, so the rank, region, country, human development value. So 77th position with 0.078, that is Sri Lanka tops, Maldives 0.719, India 0.647, Bhutan 0.617. So these are the ranks actually based on Human Development Index. So here answer is first is Maldives, next is Sri Lanka, next is India. So Maldives, Sri Lanka, India and Bhutan. So option C is the right answer. So Human Development Index and the comparisons, actually we should know basic information about, especially about the SAARC countries, okay, which are forward, which are back, which are something like that. Even Nepal is also doing better actually. So that like that you should know about these things, okay. So
Let us look into the question number 60. It is asking which of the following indicators are used for the calculation of index of economic freedom given by Heritage Foundation and the Wall Street Journal. What is this index of economic freedom? So it is actually an annual index ranking created in the year 1995 with by the Heritage Foundation and Wall Street Journal to measure, this is important, to measure the degree of economic freedom in world's nations. So how degree of economic freedom is there in various nations. So the index covers 12 aspects of economic freedom measured in the index are grouped into 4 broad categories. So actually here 12 indicators, 12 indicators under 4 categories are taken into consideration for calculating this index, and based on this index countries are ranked. So rule of law, property rights are covered. Under government size, tax burden is covered. Under regulatory efficiency, labor freedom is covered. Under market openness, trade freedom is correct. So all these are correct indicators. So which are used for calculation of index of economic freedom. Therefore, answer is option D. So for in case of India, the rank is 120. So India is in terms of economic freedom, India is not that much good. Actually, India is not faring good, and the score for this year is 56.5. Index that index is 56.5, but the rank is 120th. Okay, in this 2020 index. Okay, now let us move to the next question. 71st question. So it is about world population prospects. This report, World Population Prospects, is published by IMF, World Economic Forum, United Nations, World Bank. Answer is United Nations. Okay, so this population prospects are the outcomes, are the predictions. Okay, so world population, it is about predictions of world population. It is published by the population division of the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. Okay, and it provides a comprehensive overview of the global demographic patterns and prospects. That is, in the coming decades, how the population trends will be, how much rise in the population will be, and what are the challenges it poses. So all these will be dealt by this World Population Prospects report published by the United Nations. Okay, next if you see the other options, World Economic Forum. So what reports World Economic Forum publishes? Because as I said earlier, there would be one or two questions, minimum of one or two questions or 2 to 3 questions in the main examination based on these reports and indices. That's why you need to be thorough with this. So World Economic Forum publishes various reports like Global Human Capital Index, Global Information Technology Report, Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Report, Global Competitiveness Report, Global Enabling Trade Report, Global Energy Architecture Performance Index Report, Global Environment Performance Index, World Power Language Index, Inclusive Development Index, Global Gender Gap Index, Global Risk Report, Energy Transition Index, Future of Jobs Report, Global Manufacturing Index, etc. So these World Economic Forum publishes a lot of
various kinds of reports. Actually, it is very difficult to remember this World Economic Forum reports, but you have to. Okay, over repeated revisions, you would be able to at least eliminate the other options. Next is IMF. IMF publishes important reports like Global Financial Stability Report and also World Economic Outlook Report. So this you have to remember. Here in the given question, the answer is option C. Now let us look into the World Migration Report. So what is this migration report? Migration report. So uh, migration is nothing but what people will be moving. Okay, so it could be like within the country, so it could be interstate, it could be intrastate, or it could be within the country, intra-country migration or inter-country migration, that is international migration. So migration are various types, and the migration could be for various reasons. It could be for employment, it could be like for I mean to protect their lives because of these genocides. Okay, or it could be like what you call communal clashes, or it could be like poverty, it could be hunger, it could be many other reasons. So it will study, the migration report will tell about the how migration patterns are there. So as per the recent report, it shares that the trend of international migration data set released by the United Nations Population Division September, uh, during September. Okay, it reiterates the key trend. So the trend, it was there in the 2019, it was still there. So out of the 272 international migrants worldwide, okay, that is 3.5% of the total global population are migrants. Okay. Next is, according to the report, roughly two-thirds of the international migrants are labor migrants, and UAE is the country with having highest proportion of international migrants. So that is UAE is the country which having highest proportion of international migrants. So here actually the 272 international migrants, actually it is 270 million international migrants are there, which comprise of 3.5% of the global population. That is 3.5% of the total global population are migrants. Okay, migrants. Uh, so that is the report. That is about the report. Okay, let us see about this. Who publishes this report? This is published by International Organization for Migration. So this International Organization for Migration is established in the year 1951, is a leading intergovernmental organization in the field of migration and works closely with the governmental, intergovernmental, non-governmental partners. So it is dedicated to promoting human and orderly migration for the benefit of all. It does so by providing services and advice to the governments and migrants. Okay. So here answer is option B. Next question we'll see, that is the 55th question. It is about the global gender gap report. So the global gender gap report is published by the World Economic Forum. So the global gender report was published in 2006 by World Economic Forum. The 2020 report, that is a recent thing. Actually, it covers 153 countries. The global gender gap index is index designed to measure gender equality. So what is the exact gap actually? Gap. Actually, India is far behind. Actually, in gender gap report, India is above 100. The rank is above 100 actually. So it is actually what you call it is a pathetic situation. It's a bad situation for India. So this World Economic Forum publishes this global gender gap report. As I am time and again, I am saying that these reports are very important. So in this test series, we will see every test. I think we'll get some 2 to 3 questions. So we'll try to remember these reports. Okay. So here option B is the right answer. Now we'll come to next question. World Press Freedom Index is published by the. So this is actually press freedom. Press freedom is mainly about reporters, journalists. So it is published by Reporters Without Borders, or Reporters Sans Borders. So here in this explanation part, we'll see actually Amnesty International actually it publishes the death penalty report. Death penalty report, that is in which country still death penalty is present. So it is actually a kind of NGO. This publishes DPR, death penalty report. So this is Amnesty's Reports Without Borders. So based upon the organization's own assessment of the country's press freedom records in the previous year. So it publishes Reporters Without Borders based on the records actually on its own assessment. So it will give that World Press Freedom Index. So what will it exactly reflects? So it reflects the degree of freedom that journalists, new organizations, and netizens have in each country. So how liberty or how much freedom the journalists, netizens are enjoying, okay, in their respective country, and efforts made by authorities to respect this freedom. So that is the intention of this World Press Freedom Index. Okay, and the option in the given fourth option, UNESCO was given. So I have added like which are published by UNESCO. UNESCO publishes Global Education Monitoring Report because United Nations, because it is about education and cultural related things. Okay, so Gender Parity Index, UNESCO publishes these two. Global Education Monitoring and Gender Parity reported by UNESCO. This Death Penalty report by Amnesty International, and Reports Without Borders publishes World Press Freedom Index. So answer is option B. The 24th question. So World Giving Index is released by which of the following? So World Giving Index, what is this? Actually, World Giving Index, it ranks over, actually this World Giving Index is by Charity Aid Foundation. Charity, based on the data published by Gallup. So this Charity Aid Foundation rank over 140 countries in the world according to how charitable they are. Okay, how charitable they are. The aim of the World Giving Index is to provide insight into the scope and nature of giving around the world. So nature of giving around the world. Most recent edition was published in November 2006 with Myanmar, the United States, and Australia ranking as the top three. So various countries, based on these things, Myanmar, US, and the Australia ranks. I mean, they rank top three positions. Okay, so that is the thing. So Charity Aid Foundation is how giving actually. I mean how nature of giving around the world. Okay, that is the intention. So how charitable the persons in that countries are, okay, like, how the governments are giving these things, charitable things, something like that. Okay, so this published by this World Giving Index is published by Charity Aid Foundation. Next thing, Global Hunger Index Report International. So this the option it has given International Food Policy Research Institute. So International Food Policy Research Institute publishes Global Hunger Index. Okay, Global Hunger Index. Okay, so here answer is option B. Friends, look into the third question. So third question is about ranks and indices and who publishes that index. So this category of question, as I said earlier, time and again I am saying that these type of questions are very important for prelims. So corruption perception index is published annually by Transparency International. This is correct. Okay, Transparency International. Transparency is what it is against corruption. So that in that way also you can remember. Next, it uses a scale from 100 to 0 to measure corruption perception. So it is mainly perception, how the people living in that country are their perception, how they are thinking about corruption, whether their country more corrupt practices are there or not. Okay, so it ranks countries. Okay, Transparency International ranks countries by their perceived levels of public sector corruption, okay, as determined by expert assessments and opinion surveys. So as per this 2019 Corruption Perception Index, which is published in 2020, ranks 180 countries on a scale from 100 to 0. So 100 is very clean, 0 is highly corrupt. So if the score is good, then it is a corruption free country. If the score is bad, that is it is more corrupted country. Denmark, New Zealand, and Finland perceived as the least corrupt nations in the world. Okay, their corruption perception index is good. Okay. Next, the third statement is the databases from the World Bank and World Economic Forum are used in the calculation of corruption perception index. Okay, so it is, as the first thing, as I said, it is determined by expert assessments. So which includes from different surveys. This includes the surveys published by World Economic Forum, World Bank, Economic Intelligence Unit, etc. So yeah, the database from World Bank and World Economic Forum are used in the calculation of corruption perception index. Not only this, but various other assessments also are being considered while making this corruption perception index. Therefore, all the statements given here are correct. Answer is option D. So let us see question number 27, where they have given three indices and asked about which of the above reports are published by Economic Institute for Economics and Peace. So if you see, this Institute for Economics and Peace is best known for its annual publications, which include Peace Index, Global Terrorism Index, the Positive Peace Report, and also it conducts peace and data consulting for a range of high-profile clients, including United Nations, World Bank, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, Australian Department of Foreign Affairs. Okay, so as per this, Global Terrorism Index is correct, Global Peace Index correct, and Rule of Law Index is not covered by this IEP. Rule of Law Index is published by World Justice Project JP, not IEP. Okay, therefore here 1 and 2 are correct. Answer is option A.
The 34th question. So the question is about periodic labor force survey. Who releases the periodic labor force survey? So the answer is Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. What is this periodic labor force survey? The Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has launched a new regular employment unemployment survey. It is a regular employment and unemployment survey, namely the periodic labor force survey during April 2017 with objective of, so what is the objective? Measuring quarterly changes of various labor market statistical indicators in urban areas, as well as generating annual estimates of these indicators both for rural and urban areas. Okay, which can be used for policy making. So it will tell us about the pattern, actually patterns of employment and unemployment, both employment, how is the unemployment, how is the employment, how is the unemployment, so that these statistics will be helpful for policy making. Okay, and it will cover, actually it will estimate the estimates will be for both rural and urban areas. Okay, so that is the about periodic labor force survey. So I have told just in brief about this thing. So just as per the question, demand of the question I have told, but you have to know further about periodic labor force survey and other surveys published by Ministry of Statistics and Program. Now let's look into the 10th question. The question is about household consumer expenditure survey. Household consumers expenditure, how they are how their expenditures are, how they are spending. Okay, that is the survey. It is yearly survey conducted by Ministry of Consumer Affairs and Food and Public Distribution. This is wrong. So National Statistics Survey, it is actually, it is, sorry, a National Statistical Office. Okay, this under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. It carries out All India Survey on household consumption expenditure. It is actually conducted quinquennial intervals, not annually. Okay, and the survey, latest survey was conducted. Okay, that is the 68th survey. It is conducted between July 2011 to 2012. That is the latest survey. This is conducted by Ministry of Statistics, not the Food and Public Distribution. That is wrong. Next is, it collects information regarding expenditure and consumption of only items related to food consumed by households. So here the keyword is only. Actually, it will collect information not based on expenditure and consumption of goods. Okay, and also services, that is food and non-food. It includes rental houses, other services. Okay, health, education, all these things actually. So that will be covered, not only food. That's why the second statement is also wrong. So which of the following statements are correct means none of them are correct. Answer is option D. Okay, hope I am clear. Now let us move to the, now we'll move to the 43rd question. So it is about the India Tiger Estimation 2018 census. So in India, actually the tiger census takes place, tiger estimation takes place for every 4 years. So the last census was in the year 2018. On the occasion of International Tiger Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi released the results of the fourth cycle. So fourth cycle, 2018 was the fourth, 2014, 2010. So 20, like that. Okay. So every 4 years this tiger census takes place. Okay. So as per this, the count of tigers in India has risen to 2967. So first statement, India conducts All India Tiger Estimation every 4 years. That is true.
India is now home to nearly 5,000 tigers. That is wrong, because now the tiger population is only 2,967, not nearly 5,000. It is like halfway less than that 5,000. That is, it is only near 3,000, not 5,000. Madhya Pradesh has the highest number of tigers according to the census. So, as per the census, the highest number of tigers are located in the state of Madhya Pradesh, that is 526, followed by Karnataka, Uttarakhand. Okay, if you see this picture also, so the in 2006 it is 1411, in 2010 it is 1700 odd, in 2015 it is 2226, and the year 2018 it's see, I mean, big jump, that is 2967 tigers. Okay, Madhya Pradesh is the highest, followed by Karnataka. Okay, Uttarakhand, then Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, followed by Kerala. So with this information, we could be able to solve this question and come to a right answer. So here 1 and 3 are correct. Option C is the right answer. So this tiger sense and everything related to tiger C is important. That is the Wildlife Protection Act, National Tiger Conservation Authority, Project Tiger, various tiger reserves located across the country. So all these are important. Okay, and some rivers passing through the tiger reserves. All these are very important for prelims aspect. Here option C is the right answer. Look into this 21st question. It is about national strategy for financial inclusion. This national strategy for financial inclusion. So blindly you can say this is financial inclusion is who will deal with this financial inclusion. Financial inclusion dealt by this, is mainly related to banking, right? So banking is dealt by Reserve Bank of India. In that way also you can come to the answer. The Reserve Bank of India released this national strategy for financial inclusion 2019 and 2024, which is released around Jan 10th, okay, this year. It sets for the vision and objectives of the financial inclusion policies in India. The strategy was prepared by the RBI with inputs from various other things like central government and other financial sector regulators, which include SEBI, PFRDA, IRDA, etc. So mainly IRDA, PFRDA, SEBI. Okay. So this is about this question. Here answer is option C. Next question is 55th, which is talking about index of industrial production. So it has given about IIP, some statements about IIP, and asked which of them are correct. So first we'll need what exactly is IIP. So IIP is actually, it is a composite indicator that measures short-term changes in the volume of production of a basket of industrial products during a given period with respect to that in the chosen base period. So with respect to some base period, now what is the exact production? Okay, so that is the IIP. Okay, this is the IIP. IIP is only the measure on the volume, physical volume of production. So it is actually the not the value, it is only the volume of the output, volume of the production, actually volume of production. So it is published by the Central Statistical Office, which comes under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. The base year is 2011-12. So here the statement base year 2014-15 is wrong. So the base year is 2011 and 12. It is compiled and published by monthly by Statistical Ministry of Statistics, sorry, CSO, Central Statistical. That is true actually. Next, it is also a composite indicator that measure the short-term changes in the volume of production of a basket. So this is also true. Okay, so only 1 and 2 are right. Okay, option 3 is wrong. So third statement is wrong. Okay, so hence option is answer A. So the right option is option A. We'll see the next question. So here the question is about consumer price index. Okay, so consumer price index and the statements are given, which are and asked about the correct statements. So actually, if you see, all these are related to not consumer price index but the wholesale price index. Okay, if you see this, the difference, the chart, the differences chart. Okay, so the WPI actually it is published by the Office of Economic Advisor, under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So this is true in the case of WPI, but CPI it is not true. Okay, in the case of CPI it will be published by Central Statistical Office of the Ministry of statistics and program implementation. Next is the limitation of CPI is that it cannot capture the changes in the price of services. So actually, if you see the components, it includes this manufacture. Wholesale is only mainly about manufacturing. Okay, primary fuel, food fuel, and all those things. Okay, but consumer price index will capture even the services. So it is a CPI which can capture the changes in the services. Next is CPI tracks inflation at the producer level. This is also wrong. As the name implies, C for consumer, so CPI tracks at consumer level. Wholesale price actually it is at the producer level. It is a producer level. So and the here actually to think the base year is actually 2011-12 for both these things. Okay, so and another thing, other differences are wholesale price index is actually little bit fast, little bit early, that is weekly or monthly, but CPI is only once in a month. Okay, so this WA data where they get the data is ministries departments. CPI actually it is like NSSO data mainly. Okay, the items that is different, not different. So actually okay, these are the major differences. So if you see all the statements, given statements are related to the wholesale price index, not consumer price index. Hence, all the statements are wrong. All the statements are wrong. Therefore, option D is the right answer. So this question is about the National Housing Bank Residex, which is the India's first official house price index, was undertaken by who? Who this publishes this Residex? Okay, who undertakes this thing? So it is actually India's first official house price index was an initiative of the National Housing Bank, undertaking at the behest of the Government of India under Ministry of Finance. So it is by Ministry of Finance, not the Housing and Urban Affairs, not the CREDAI, not the Niti Aayog. So it is taken up by Ministry of Finance. So this Residex is what it is. It is actually rating of the houses, actually official housing price index. So how are the prices actually? Okay, how are the prices in the various cities and all those things? Okay, this Residex housing price index. Okay, it is by initiative of the National Housing Bank at the behest of the Government of India, Ministry of Finance. Hence, option B is the right answer. Now we'll now look into the 78th question. The India Innovation Index is released by, okay, the India Innovation Index is released by the Niti Aayog. Okay, so Indian Innovation Index, recognizing the role of innovation as a key driver of growth and prosperity. So for growth, innovation plays a key role in the present era. So innovation leads to more better solutions, okay, effective utilization of resources. So enhances more transparency and accountability, checks the wastage, checks corruption, so minimizes wastage of resources. So better, what do you call, better targeting, so better output, better growth. So all these are the outcomes of innovation. So that's how innovation is important for an economy. Niti Aayog with Institute for Competitiveness looks holistically at the innovation landscape of India by examining the innovation capabilities and performance of Indian states and union territories. So, based on this evaluation, the Niti Aayog will give this Indian Innovation Index, and based on this, it will be the states will be ranked as per their innovative capabilities. So this India Innovation Index is released by Niti Aayog. So all the reports released by Niti Aayog are very important. Student Education Quality Index. So for example, this Sustainable Water Management Index. Okay. So even the Agriculture Related Index, Sustainable Development Index. So all these are indices developed by Niti Aayog, published by Niti Aayog, which are very important for prelims. Third question. So the 33rd question is about Index of Industrial Production. So the statements given are IIP is a yearly indicator. This is wrong. IIP is a monthly indicator. Okay. So components of IIP are 8 core industries. This is correct. Okay. You see, this is very important and very basic question regarding economy. So IIP is very common in use. I mean, very commonly asked questions, and this is very important area. So IIP, as it is commonly called, it is an index that tracks manufacturing activity in different sectors of the economy. So various sectors in the manufacturing activity. The IAP number measures the industrial production for a period under review, usually a monthly indicator. So mining, manufacturing, electricity are the three broad sectors in which IAP constituents fall. So okay, so there are 8 core industries, that is electricity, crude oil, coal, cement, steel, refinery products, natural gas and fertilizers, that comprise of 40% of weight. Okay, 40% of weight. So these are actually very, very important. They are regularly, frequently asked in the main examination, main prelims examination. So these 8 you have to remember actually. Okay, electricity is one of the highest weightage actually. So that is also very important. That has been asked already. So you have to know the sector wise weightage also. That is also important. So overall, these 8 core industries comprise of 40% of the weight of the total IAP. So this area is very important. So components of IAP are 8 core industries. Correct. So second statement is correct. First statement is wrong. Only option B is the right answer. Consider the following statements regarding good governance index. So what is this good governance index? So this good governance index was actually the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, DARPG, under Ministry of PPP. Okay, pensions, public grievances. Okay, that is the thing. So the Government of India partnered with Center for Good Governance, Hyderabad, in designing the development of good governance index. No farmers income was not no farmers income was not one of the indicators in assessing the performance of agriculture and allied sector. If you see these are the actually indicators for assessing the performance of agriculture and allied sector. Those are growth rate of agriculture and allied sector, food grain production, horticulture produce, milk production, meat production, crop insurance. But farmers income is not there, so that is why it is not the indicator. GGI was carried out by Niti Aayog. Niti is not related to Niti Aayog. It is actually by Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, Government of India, with Center for Good Governance. So hence, both statements are wrong. Option D is the right answer. Let us look into the question number 20, which is about Sustainable Development India Index. So this SDG index, this is very important. This is Indian counterpart of the SDGs. I mean, to say exactly how far Indian states are implementing the Sustainable Development Goals, or how far they are successful in achieving these SDGs, is measured by this index. This is published by Niti Aayog. So as a part of its what you call cooperative and competitive federalism, this index has been proposed by this Niti Aayog. Okay, so here it evaluates, actually there are 17 goals, right? It evaluates 16 out of 17 goals. Okay, this SDG index assess 16 out of the 17 goals, that is first 16 goals. So as per this, it evaluates 13 out of 17 is wrong. It evaluates 16 out of 17. So this international cooperation is not related to states, right? So it is related to the union list. So mainly the first 16 it will assess and evaluate. So first statement is wrong. By this only you can come to the answer, option A. But let us see the other statements as well. This index classifies states and union territories based on their score into 4 categories, namely achiever, frontrunner, performer, and aspirant. This is correct. The 4 categorizations are achiever. Achiever is like it has already achieved. That is when the SDG index is 100. Frontrunner is like somewhere between 65 to 100. Whereas performer is somewhere between 50 to 65. Aspirant is if the index score is less than 50. So based on this, the categorization was done. So as per this, second statement is correct. Next statement is Kerala and Tamil Nadu are the only achiever state as per this index. As per this thing, there are no achievers and no aspirants. Okay, no achievers and no aspirants. The states, all the given states that were in the, all the 3 states that were in the aspirant category, that is Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Assam, have graduated to the performer category. So earlier these 3 states were under aspirant, now they are moved to performer category. That is, their status has been improved. Similarly, 5 states, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Goa and Sikkim, moved up from the performer category to the frontrunner category. So performer to front runner category. Kerala is also actually the score of 70. It is also a front runner category. Okay. So as per the ranks, so first is Kerala, next is Himachal, next is Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, AP, Telangana, Tamil Nadu. Actually, these three got the same position, that is a 67. Score is 67, rank is third. So in this way also questions can be asked. So ranking of the states as per SDG index. One is Kerala, next is second is Himachal, next is AP, Telangana and Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu. So Kerala and Tamil Nadu are the only achiever states. That is wrong. No, there is no achiever state. There is no achiever state. Second, third statement is wrong. Only second statement is correct. Answer is option A.